it's time for my special guest now, and on the line now we have Andy Laycock from the new Flying Pickets. Welcome to the show.
Thank you very much. Thanks for having us.
Great stuff. Thank you for coming on. And how are you today?
Good.
That's
Yeah, very
great.
good. Kind of busy because we're in the we've just released an album and we're in the process of just sort of plan our next one.
Yeah, great
It never
stuff.
really stops really, so
Yeah,
it rolls on.
yeah. Keep busy. Where in the world are you calling from today? Or I'm calling you.
Actually, I'm in Germany at the moment.
Oh, very
I
nice.
most of the time in Germany
Yeah,
these days. So yeah, it's a bright winter's day in
great.
Germany.
And the Flying Pickets, the lineup has changed throughout the years, but
Yeah,
you still kept the Flying Pickets legacy alive.
yeah. It's a funny thing because I mean the lineup of the band has changed, as you say, so many times over the years, and yet the band is inherently still kind of the same. It's a bit like a football team,
Yeah,
really. People say, "Oh, yeah, my favourite team is Man U," and and I go, which one? Because in 1968, Man U was not the Man U of the 90s or
yeah,
Man U of today, and yet it's still Man U. So
exactly.
it's a similar thing with the Pickets. It's the attitude, I suppose,
Yeah.
which makes the band rather than the lineup.
So you're Andy Laycock, and would like to introduce the other members of the band.
Yeah, but they're not with me at the moment.
Okay.
I'd love to. At the moment, the band is made up of myself, Chris Brooker, Simon Foster, Eric Wager, and Martin George.
Great stuff. And they always says people always knew there was somewhere a Flying Pickets out there in some form.
Yeah, the band's never stopped. It's funny you introduced us as the new Flying Pickets, but and I suppose in a way that's true, but it's still the same Flying Pickets as it ever was in terms of what the band is, what kind to an extent the material we sing. Obviously that's changed. We want to sing the same songs forever.
Sure.
Um, but yeah, the band is really it just rolls and changes and rolls and changes. There was never a day when the band stopped and the new band
Yeah.
started. It just is metamorphized.
Yeah.
Is that the word?
Oh yeah, like
Metamorphose. It's just
changes. Yeah,
changed.
yeah, yeah. And I just want to kind of go back to the past now. What is a Flying Picket in short?
What is a flying picket?
Yeah.
Well, not in musical terms, but I suppose in literal terms, a flying picket is a striker who goes and supports other strikers in
Yeah.
in other places. I mean, the band's name came from the miners' strikes of
Yeah.
'72 and '74. At the time, the background of the band, the membership of the band met in a touring theatre show, 784,
Yeah.
a theatre show called One Big Blow. And that was about the miners' strikes of the '70s, from very much from the miners' point of
Yeah.
view. And musically, what happened was that the brass band that was often part of the colliery culture, if you like, was done a cappella by the cast members. And so as they were touring around from venue to venue, much like a flying picket would do, the guys started, just singing their favourite things in the back of the van to pass the time, really. And that rapidly became something they wanted to do, kind of full time after that theatre show finished. So that's sort of how it started.
Yeah.
And so Flying Pickets seemed politically and musically pretty apt. So it kind of stuck.
Yeah. Right. And what can you tell me about the lead singer Brian Hibbard? I know he's sadly no longer with us. He was also an
Yeah.
actor, and he's also been in Doctor Who as well, and Coronation Street, amongst other projects.
Yeah, Brian did the rounds. He was pretty much everywhere. Yeah, he was a fantastic bloke. I met him only a little bit briefly,
Yeah.
but uh, he was a live wire. He was a ball of energy and very much one of the instigators of making the band what it was.
And which a cappella groups have influenced yourself over the years?
Personally, oh, there's it's yeah. My musical background is not really in a cappella.
Mm.
That's been a big accident in my life. I'm very happy about it.
I've got.
But my
Sorry.
musical references are really more to do with kind of Motown
Yeah.
and Sly and the Family Stone and Prince, of course, or
Yeah.
Bowie. Or yeah, it's probably easier for me to tell you what music didn't influence me
Yeah.
rather than what did.
I see. Yeah, I was about to say, sorry, I had some actually suggestions. I put some on the list. Some a cappella groups like the Persuasion, some Pentatonics are doing well.
Absolutely, yeah. I
Great.
mean, Persuasion's in terms of a cappella, I suppose the Persuasions were one of my biggest our biggest influences, just because they had so much life in the way they sang, and still do. I think they're still going. Pentatonics likewise have kind of picked up where the Pickets, not left off. We're still there, but in terms of mass popular appeal, they've kind of gone, yeah, great, let's do that, and run with it, and hugely successful. They've got, I think, 3 Grammys now. They're doing great. Yeah. Brilliant.
And do you enjoy singing covers or originals?
Both, actually. Yeah. The fact that we get to do both in this band is one of the best things about it from a performance point of view. It means we get to sing our favourite songs the way we feel like we could sing them, and at the same time we get the chance to contribute our own songs and arrange those in a way that makes them all sit together quite nicely. So that's one of the best things about it, really, doing covers.
I put down some suggestions I thought of in my head that you'd be wonderful singing at. I have
bring it on.
Yeah, I have got Steel Eye Span, Gorday, perfect for this time of year, and 10 Green Bottles on the wall.
10 Green Bottles.
Yeah,
we could make a nice Pickets version of 10 Green Bottles, I'm sure. Yeah.
And is there an art to writing a good song? Do you have any tips?
An art to writing a good song. No, I really wish that I had a tip that would really help, because then every time I sat down to write a song, it would be a guaranteed hit. It's just not that simple, I'm afraid. Sometimes I sit down with a title in my head and I kind of go, what's this strange title? How would it sound? And sometimes I wake up with a little melody in my head and I'll go, yeah, that goes like that. And then I'll sit down at the piano and kind of go, that chord kind of goes quite nicely with that melody. How does that move? Other times you end up with some lyrics banging around in your head, like half a verse or something, or the end of a chorus, or you're never quite sure what it is until you kind of sit down and work on it. And you kind of squeeze the lyrics with this way and that way, and they kind of start to become a shape, and then it kind of takes care of itself, really. I really wish that there was a way of doing it. It's different with every song.
Yeah, maybe in a nutshell, maybe it kind of comes to you when you least expect it, songwriting.
Oh, that's always true. Yeah.
And I have some Flying Pickets trivia here.
Yeah.
So the Only You video, was that filmed at the Capel Hotel in Bargo, Ed?
I don't believe it was. I think that was shot at the, what was it called? The Old Lion and Pineapple in Acton, I think.
Oh, yes, that's at London.
It's now Wetherspoon's pub. It's still a pub.
And am I right, it was the first a cappella song to reach UK charts #1?
Yeah, still the first.
Yeah, still. And it was #1 in Germany, #2 Switzerland.
Yeah. And
do you know where the original Only You song was recorded? Was it South East London or in a Cardiff music studio?
You mean the Pickets original version?
Yeah, the Pickets original version.
Oh, right, because the Yazoo version, I don't know where that was recorded. Probably Daniel Miller's place. I don't know, actually. I don't know where they recorded it. I imagine it was in London because all the boys were living in London at the time. So
I remember watching a Christmas a show, a documentary about Christmas songs, and I remember Brian saying that he went to South East London to record the vocals and he went back home.
Yeah, well, that's the way it worked. I mean, the great thing about the way we work now is that I can be over here in Germany, some of the other guys can be somewhere else or in London or wherever it is, and we can work remotely, and particularly at the moment it's really apt. We can work remotely and still produce an album.
Yeah.
Whereas in those days, in the early 80s and still until the end of the 90s, really the only way to record together was physically to be together.
Yeah.
And we still do that, of course. We still record some things all together, but it's quite useful to be able to kind of do some of the work separately, so that 4 or 5 other guys aren't just sitting around waiting to get yourself together, and then send the good stuff and put it all together. So I think it's a better way of working. It's a more time-efficient way of working these days.
I was going to ask you, actually, with Zoom, have you been rehearsing together over a Zoom meeting?
No, we haven't. It's quite a really, well, it is for everybody. It's a weird 12 months that we've had. We released the album at the end of November last year, in CD form, because we had a whole bunch of touring. Then we wanted to coincide the two things, and then digitally it came out at the end of February, just in time for everything to be shut down. All our touring this year, for the first time in the band's history, we haven't been able to be on the road. We've toured every single year since 1982 until 2020, And so that really has meant that because we all live in separate places, the Flying Pickets house doesn't exist anymore.
Yeah.
But that means we haven't really been able to meet, very much. I've met a couple of the guys separately, but because of all the restrictions, you can't have 5 people coming together really. So, and as for rehearsing on Zoom or whatever, it's really a non-starter because there's always that delay inherent in the internet. Kind of messes things up for us.
I think I tried
so
it.
We've been workshopping a few things and rehearsing kind of via sending files backwards and forwards to each other, but not actually live. I haven't actually seen the whole band together for 11 months now. It's just weird.
Yeah. I think I tried doing a duet for someone over Canada, like over Facebook Live, and it was really tricky, as you say, the delay. It just didn't work.
Right, exactly.
And
we've tried it, and it was a non-starter really. So okay,
just wrapping up now. I suppose you're all itching to get back out on the road.
Cannot wait. Yeah, all our touring, as I say, for this year has been postponed to next year, and we've got next year's shows as well coming up as well. So 2021 looks like it's going to be pretty busy, assuming that it all doesn't get cancelled all over again. Let's see how it goes.
Yeah. I reckon.
But if anyone wants to know where we are, then that's all on our website, which is flyingpickets.com.
I reckon once this pandemic's all over, people will be so itching to let the hair down and party and see live music.
Yeah, I've done a couple of other small gigs with some other people that I know, and those gigs were insanely well received. I mean, people were crying. It was so moving for them to be able to go and hear some live music again. So I think you're right. There's a desperate need for people to be able to let their hair down and actually have some live music again. And for the same for us, we cannot wait.
Yeah. So you just mentioned you got the new album out, which was come out last year. That'll tie people over.
Yeah.
Also, we got some merchandise as well, I believe.
Yeah, so we have a little web shop on the website as well, and there's some T-shirts, there's mugs, there's caps, there's bags, there's CDs, of course. So there's a whole bunch of things there, and good time of year. Buy one for your favourite person for Christmas. If you don't like the Pickets, buy 2 and give them to people you hate.
Yeah, and this is on a light note. Do you ever get stopped in the street and people go ba da ba ba to you at all?
Occasionally, yeah. I mean, I'm fortunate in the sense that I don't get recognised as much because I'm not in all the videos which are on YouTube and stuff now. But occasionally we get people, especially in Germany where we've toured quite a lot over the last few years. Occasionally people stop us. But the most common thing is when the song comes on, they go, "Oh yeah, I know that song." Even if they don't remember the band's name, they remember that ba da 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 thing straight away. So we get that quite a lot.
Yeah, and if you just sent me the updated version of Only You, which we're going to play now on the radio waves. And I just want to say thank you very much for taking the time out your schedule.
Thank you. It's been a pleasure.
A little bit of an in-depth interview what the Flying Pickets were then about and now what they're about now.
If you want to find out any more, then as I say, it's all the family tree, if you like, and the history and all the albums we've released and stuff. It's all on our website, which is flyingpickets.com. So have a deco at that.
Andy Laycock, it's been wonderful speaking to you today.
Danny, thank you very much.